What's up, guys? My name is NinjaStrixer. You can call me Striker for short, and today I'm going to be talking about Minecraft's upcoming update, Mounts of Mayhem, as well as some changes that I believe need to be implemented to make this update not only better, but also prevent it from being a catastrophic mistake that could damage the PvP community. So let's start with what's really the highlight of the update, and that's the Mayhem part of the Mounts of Mayhem title, and that would be the spear. The spear has a special attack called the dash attack, where you can hold it down and charge it up, and the faster you move, the more damage it'll do. Now, for a lot of you, that's probably old news, but I will say it really isn't that broken, because although going really fast with the spear will enhance the damage, Mojang did make sure that there are a lot of nerfs in place that will make sure that this isn't overpowered. And for those of you who think, oh, it doesn't do enough damage, well, actually, it's perfectly fine because you can apply sharpness to the spear as of now. So if you want more damage, you can get more damage. And that is about it for the dash attack. And that's really not what I think is super broken about the spear. It's actually the jab attack. Yeah, just like the default hit. See, this is actually super broken. And it's not because of the damage. You see, one of the things I really like about the jab attack is that when you hit with the jab, it has to be fully charged. I'm spam clicking right now, and it's only hitting when it's fully charged. And I really like that. With any other weapon, if you want to get the full effect, you can pretty much just hit it about 90%. You don't have to wait for it to be fully charged. But with the spear, you have to wait. And I think that that's a good nerf. It's just something that Mojang didn't take into account with giving the jab attack, yes, that's right, extra reach, is that people aren't actually going to use the spear to get the extra reach effect. So if you see, I have a villager here. A lot of you are probably wondering, why is the villager trapped in here? NinjaStrixer, what are you about to do to this poor villager? I'd say nothing serious. We're just gonna stab him. But not with the spear. You see, the maximum range that you have in Minecraft by default, starting from in between my eyes, is 3 blocks. I can hit him with the sword. Come back here, I can't. But with the spear, I can. So, some of you may not know this, but there is a technique invented by a player named VVKMC, and it's called cooldown tricking. Essentially, you take the first weapon and its base damage and cooldown and combine it with the attributes of a second weapon that includes its properties as well as its enchantments and durability, which I think is really cool and by far some of the most fun PvP meta. But I'm sure a lot of you can see where I'm going with this. You can do it from the sword to spear, so I can't hit it from here, but if I were to do that, then I can with the sword, which, as you can imagine, for comboing is super broken and completely ruins the meta. Now, for any potential Mojang developers who are watching this and freaking out like, oh no, we broke the meta, it's Minecraft 1.9 all over again, calm down, it's no big deal. There's a very simple change that you can make to fix this, and it's actually not removing the extra reach. I actually think that that's a really fun idea. All you gotta do is make sure that people can't combo when cooldown tricking. And the way that you do that is just remove knockback from the jab attack, like reduce it pretty close to 0. That way, knockback is exclusive to the dash attack. So when people are attribute swapping, like this, right, they can't combo with it. So if they want the extra reach, then they have to sacrifice that capability. Or they can sacrifice the extra reach for the ability to combo. I also think that, and take this with a grain of salt because I haven't tested it, I also believe that if you're cooldown tricking to the spear, it's going to do less durability damage, so in case any of you play Drain using this weapon, just be aware of that. And that's really about all for the spear. There are a few other things that I think needed to be added to this update to make it perfect. And I'll start with what I personally think is one of the most important of these, and that's having a nerf to the Elytra. I think that for a long time, the Elytra has been due for a nerf. I think one of the things that just makes absolutely no sense about it, that I saw pointed out by a YouTuber named Cupfan, is that you can actually use it to fly underwater. Yeah, you're flying underwater. That makes no sense, and given things like boats and Riptide Tridents and the new Nautilus that's being added this very update, I mean, heck, even skeleton horses, dolphins, we do not need to be able to fly underwater with the Elytra. That's just ridiculous, and I think that should be removed. I also think that something that's pretty broken about the Elytra is that it has a ridiculous amount of durability. It means that in PvP game modes like Mace, as well as just fighting players in a survival world, it incentivizes people to run away from fights rather than picking and choosing when to fly. So I think something that could be helpful is to reduce the Elytra durability. And I really think that the evidence I have for this change being beneficial is that most SMPs will implement rules for what the Elytra can and can't be used for. And in some cases, they'll just ban it altogether. Even ranked systems like MC Tiers, the people who rank PvP, they have a plugin that's reducing the durability for Mace, just to make sure that people can't just fly around for the entire fight and never engage. So I really do think that the Elytra is kind of killing all other methods of transportation, and very much in need of a nerf. I think that another thing that I think is a little overpowered with the Elytra is there is an exploit where you can fly with it infinitely, like this. So if you notice, I cannot do it very effectively, but players better than me can do it, where you can just like make the Elytra take 0 durability and just fly indefinitely. It is very broken. I suggest that should be patched, because it really isn't a cool PvP technique. It would just, all it would do for the competitive community is defeat the point of view lowering the durability in the first place. So I think that you should fix that as well. If you're looking for a specific number to reduce the Elytra's durability, like down to that particular number, I would suggest like 50, because people can apply the Unbreaking enchantment to make it last way longer. Now, on the note with the Elytra, something else that people are going to pair with the Elytra a lot is the new spear. And I think that a complaint I've seen in the community a lot recently is that the enchantment for the spear, particularly the one that has exclusively lunge, is taking too much durability to use. And I would like to just go ahead and tell everyone who believes this, you're a hater. This is perfect balancing, because the last thing that you want in a PvP fight is for people to just be like, oh man, just do this the entire time. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, this is a netherite spear, for crying out loud. Like, they should not be, flinging themselves around everywhere and not engaging in actual combat. I think that it's a good nerf, and it'll make sure that people conserve the durability and use the lunge when they actually need to use it, instead of just spamming it around to get everywhere, because that would be really, really annoying. That said, there is another change that I feel the PvP community is in pretty desperate need of, and it's something that they've been asking, that I think all of us have been asking for a long time, particularly the Crystal PvP community. You know, the biggest game mode. It's double blast prot. So the blast protection enchantment it's reducing a lot of knockback, and so it no longer rewards combos with using the ender crystals to kill people, and instead, for some strange reason, it's now rewarding spamming. So the game mode has just devolved to most people getting high tier 3 off of just spam clicking the crystal on the obsidian instead of like timing it. Now, I know that that's not really the case for a lot of higher level players, but I do think that it's bad enough that I think that it should be changed. And that doesn't mean blast protection needs to suck for the casuals. I think actually quite the opposite. I think that it should remain pretty similar to the way it is, just decrease the knockback reduction, because it's overpowered. Another thing that I think really needs to be implemented is vanilla shield stuns. Shield stuns are a technique that are used to punish people who use the shield too much. Like, if you're just spamming block, there should be a way to counter that. And shield stuns have done that for a long time, but they're not actually in the vanilla Minecraft game. And really all you need to do is allow people to take the vertical knockback after disabling the shield. You just you just remove that temporary invulnerability things that people can double click the shield with the axe and get the stun. I think that it'll be a change that's relatively unnoticed by casuals. It's super easy to implement. And overall, I think that it'll have a very positive effect on the PvP community. And if you think that that's a hot take, just wait till you hear this next one. I would like to ask you guys to do something for me. Wait a minute. What is this? Is that the subscribe button? Maybe you guys should click it. It actually really helps out my channel a lot, and it would make a huge difference. And it's one of the best ways that you can help support these changes coming to the game. That and, you know, sharing the video, hitting the like button, subscribing to a less corny YouTuber, that kind of thing. Anyways, another thing that I think really needs a change is the trident. I think that it needs to be majorly buffed, and that's because this weapon sucks. See, every weapon in the game scales with your progress. The sword and the axe get better tiers. The mace and the bow get better enchantments. The crossbow, you can load freaking fireworks in that thing later on. Even the spear, which hasn't been added to the game yet, is getting progression. Whereas the trident, it has pretty much none. The only time where it would be useful is in the early game, but it's much too rare, and by the time you get it late game, it's an overglorified utility and not an actual weapon. So, to be honest, I think that it could really use a buff. I mean, whenever you think about it, one of its enchantments doesn't even work unless it's raining. That is just ridiculous. I think that fixing this weapon is also relatively easy. There's an enchantment called Impaling for the Trident that does more damage to aquatic mobs, and I think that if you counted a player as an aquatic mob, if they're in water, that would greatly buff the Trident, because it means that out of all the weapons in the game, it's the best to be used in the water. But outside of it, there's probably some water bucket tech that could make it really useful. But otherwise, it is mainly used for utility outside of the water. I think that that could be really good. Another thing is make it more common. When like the rates for like drowns with tridents being killed and dropping the trident are far too low, and it is disgusting, and it really... He's invincible. Let's test that again. Okay, never mind, he's not. It's... Man, PvP on the latest version really is glitchy. I think that really needs to be fixed, which kind of brings me to my next point, which is... I think that knockback sync should be vanilla. I think that a lot of people have complained about this for a long time. It's just that where you live shouldn't affect how you take knockback. I think that the current meta for ping is interesting, but for some people's regions, it can be really boring. And I think that knockback sync has the potential to fix this. It's also just like free code that you can just take off the internet, which is pretty amazing. If you want to understand KP sync and hit registration better, then I will put a link to the Intel Edits explanation on his YouTube channel in the description. I think that another thing that could really use a rework is the potion system, because, I mean, it really needs to be reworked. I mean, the cauldron in Java is essentially useless, and I think that it would be much cooler if it would work better for tipped arrows and dying things like in... Or actually, no, dying things in this, like Bedrock, would kind of suck, because it wouldn't really be used, because it's just too much iron for the cauldron in the early game, which is the only time somebody's going to be dying leather armor, at least until more freezing things get added to the game. So unless, like, the Iceologer is rolling up, then I think that the cauldron's main use could be being able to put potions in it and do some stuff with that. I also think debuffs need to be reworked, and really I think the easiest way to do that right now is to just lower the duration. Like, let's be honest, nobody wants to be in an epic PvP duel, right? And then they get splashed with this, and this is just their gameplay now. This really sucks. Nobody wants to play the game like this. It feels awful, and it lasts much too long. Like right now, you probably can't even tell I have slowness because I have the one for 4 minutes. The one for 1 minute and 30 seconds slows you to a near standstill. Like it's just disgusting. And it lasts 1 minute and 30 seconds. Nobody wants to play the game like that. There's a reason debuff is the least popular sub-tiers game mode. No hate to debuff. I think a rework is all their kit needs, but I digress. Debuffs need to have all of their cooldowns lowered so that they aren't banned from SMPs like the Elytra. I also think that Mojang removed all the pot meta recently. Not the game mode, but like for potions specifically. There are a lot of ways to pot. You can go up for the maximum effect, go down, which is faster but less of the effect. You can crouch, which is somewhere in the middle, but you have to halt your movement. You could pot against the wall. You can even pot in the air using wind charges, which is pretty freaking cool. But most of that was removed because Mojang changed it to where instead of it being how close to your head to get the maximum effect, they changed it to be just like if you're just in the general splash radius, you get the max effect, which kind of sucks, honestly. So I think that it seems like they're going to rework the potion system. Otherwise, I really don't know why they would do that. But I'd say if they aren't going to rework it anytime soon, I think that you guys should just go ahead and re-implement that. Now, if you think that, well, all of that's good and well, but if we're gonna add something in a future update that would be more challenging for competitive players, what should it be? I have a little idea, actually. I have something that I think could be pretty cool. Actually, a cave biome concept. Just hear me out on this one. I didn't put the powdered snow at the bottom when I set up the world. This is not a funny clip. Stop laughing. It's not funny. I'm gonna try to clutch it. Fall down. Clutch down. Just barely. Anyways, what I was trying to say, and I think you guys get the vision, creeper nest. I think that something like this could be pretty freaking awesome. It'd be a great way to show off the new egg textures that were added pretty recently. I think that these look gorgeous. I think having creeper eggs in the game would be really cool. Anyways, it's a pretty nerdy idea. That's really about all I have to say. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.